As the investigation into misconduct of Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis continues, the judge overseeing former President Trump's election interference case says it could result in her disqualification. Madeline Rivera is live in Washington. Can you set the table for us, Madeline?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Well, an evidentiary hearing is scheduled to begin on Thursday, and we could see Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis testify in her own defense. The presiding judge appeared willing to allow testimony from some of the witnesses that the defense subpoenaed. This is a blow for Willis, who could be disqualified from the election interference case she's overseeing against former President Trump and others in Georgia. One of the key issues here is whether Willis financially benefited in her relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, whom she hired to help lead the case. Court documents show Wade billed taxpayers $654,000 since January 2022. Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee says, specifically looking at defendant Roman's motion, it alleges a personal relationship that resulted in a financial benefit to the district attorney, and that is no longer a matter of complete speculation. The state has admitted a relationship existed, and so what remains to be proven is the existence and extent of any financial benefit. Willis has admitted to having a personal relationship with Wade, but denies a conflict of interest. Terrence Bradley, Wade's former law partner, will testify first on Thursday. Willis's father is also expected to testify remotely from California. Ainsley.
All right, Madeline, thank you so much. Well, here to react to that story, thank you, Fox News contributor and former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy. Hey, Andy, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Ainsley.
Hi. So what happens if they are disqualified? It sounds like this judge, the Supreme Judge, is going to disqualify them, or there is grounds for that. Anyone you talk to can't believe that this is actually happening. So if they're disqualified, who gets this case now? And how could that affect Donald Trump?
Well, you know, it depends, Ainsley, on whether you make the leap from there needs to be a disqualification to that the disqualification may somehow have corrupted the fundamental or instigation of the investigation and the case. If they can get to that point, they have a chance to get the indictment dismissed. That's a heavy lift, so probably the case goes to subordinate prosecutors in the office. It's important to remember she's already disqualified from prosecuting one person in the case because of ethical violations during the investigation, so this isn't her first rodeo.
Okay, so if it goes to a subordinate prosecutor in her office, we probably know how they feel about this. Would it delay? Would this happen after the election?
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard to make any assessment of that because there's no trial date here, and this really isn't. There's other litigation going on where you have one defendant, I think it's Mark Meadows, who's still trying to get the case moved into federal court. They still haven't had like the major motions in the case. 4 people have pled guilty, but they've pled guilty to very minor charges. And I think that underscores what a lot of us have been saying from the beginning, which is that this case should have been brought, if at all, as a series of small cases. And she tried to wrap it into this big RICO. And now the allegation is, did she do that in order to churn the enterprise of bringing this case so that it would generate more money, since she, this is the allegation, was indirectly the recipient of the money through the people she hired.
Yeah, through the vacations and all of that, allegedly, with her alleged boyfriend, Mr. Wade. Okay, what about Donald Trump asking the Supreme Court to intervene? He's claiming absolute immunity.
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, the interesting thing here is it was very foolish for the prosecutor, Jack Smith, to try to bypass the normal appellate process, as he did weeks ago when he asked the Supreme Court to take this case before the D.C. Circuit could hear it, because now he's in the position of going back to the Supreme Court and saying, never mind, you don't need to weigh in here because I'm very happy with the decision I got from the D.C. Circuit. So they may find that a bit odd. Otherwise, you know, I think the court is going to be reluctant to take this case.
That's interesting. And then there are those New York cases, too. I was reading this morning that could happen this week, Thursday and Friday, or Thursday at least. All right, Andy, thank you so much for weighing in on this.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.